we really have to come to terms and deal with the reality that the president, Donald Trump, is just not a good person, period. And there are always ways to write off horrifying behavior, right? When he said grab them by the you know what, well, what he meant is grab them by the you know what because they let you because you're famous. So it's not really unwanted sexual contact. Or when he made fun of the disabled reporter, that insulting caricature that he did, it only seemed like he was mimicking the reporter's specific disability, but really he wasn't. It was just some coincidence. Whatever you want, right? You can defend it. But the latest tweet, you can defend it. I don't. The latest tweets and comments about the horrifying situation that fellow American citizens in Puerto Rico are suffering through right now is one where there can be no other explanation other than Trump is not a good person. Puerto Rico has been ravaged by the recent hurricanes. Everything from power to food to water is in short supply. To begin with, Donald Trump's response was slow, weak, almost not there. Eventually, after media coverage grew around Puerto Rico and Trump definitively figured out, or someone told him, that Puerto Ricans are American citizens, he started taking some sort of action and saying some things that made him sound like a sort of moderately empathetic person when you're president of the United States and fellow citizens are suffering this way. But this imploded over the weekend. The mayor of San Juan was pleading for help, and Donald Trump was golfing. Endless nonprofits and activists were working feverishly to try to not only raise money for Puerto Rico, but to figure out how to get it where it needs to be and start making change in Puerto Rico. And Trump was tweeting that Puerto Ricans just want everything handed to them. The mayor of San Juan herself, Carmen Yulin Cruz, speaking here.
We are dying here, and I cannot fathom the thought that the greatest nation in the world cannot figure out the logistics for a small island of 100 miles by 35 miles long. So I am asking the President of the United States to make sure somebody is in charge that is up to the task of saving lives.
Begging and pleading. And what does Trump do? He takes to Twitter to attack the mayor, starting with the mayor of San Juan, who was very complimentary only a few days ago, has now been told by the Democrats that you must be nasty to Trump. Such poor leadership ability by the mayor of San Juan and others in Puerto Rico who were not able to get their workers to help. They want everything to be done for them when it should be a community effort. 10,000 federal workers now on island doing a fantastic job. And then another sort of indirect slight at the people of Puerto Rico, who I guess, according to Trump, are not, quote, working hard, when Trump went back on Twitter and praised the people in the U.S. Virgin Islands, saying, quote, I will be going to Puerto Rico on Tuesday with Melania. We'll hopefully be able to stop at the U.S. Virgin Islands, people working hard. And what makes these tweets even worse? That Trump was once again playing golf all weekend at his own golf resort in New Jersey, hanging out and funneling more taxpayer money into his family businesses. This is a shameful disgrace. It's a shameful time for the United States. And there has to be some component here about the stereotype of the lazy Hispanic, right? I mean, can anyone of us imagine Donald Trump faced with desperation for help and aid from, for example, the mayor of Colorado Springs, a white middle-aged man, reacting on Twitter that Coloradans just want everything to be handed to them? Can anyone really imagine that? And of course, it's not just Puerto Ricans. It's a brown-skinned Hispanic woman who's the one saying they need help and we really need the president to put someone in charge of this. Beyond bizarre, beyond embarrassing, the mayor of San Juan was not being nasty to Trump. She's desperate and making a plea for help because people are dying, and she's making plea after plea. And this really goes to Trump's insecurity, right? How insecure is Trump? He must be realizing that he is seen as incompetent and he just can't seem to do anything right, because a plea for help from a mayor about fellow American citizens that she represents, Trump sees the plea for help, I guess, as trying to make him look bad, and he lashes out. And a leaked White House memo has exposed how the White House has been trying to spin this, White House Homeland Security Advisor Tom Bossert sent other staffers a list of talking points. One of those talking points that leaked is, quote, "The storm caused these problems, not our response to it." Yeah. Anyway, back to Trump. It is pathological narcissism, but it's also just a bad person, right? And recall Donald Trump's reaction after 9/11 happened. He was interviewed on WWOR just hours after the World Trade Center went down on 9/11. He was asked about the fallen Twin Towers. Trump's first comment was that as a result of the destruction of the Twin Towers, his building on Wall Street was now the tallest building in the neighborhood in Lower Manhattan. Oh, yeah, and of course, it's just horrible and unbelievable what's going on. That's not a good person. And as a side note, just as a final dot at the end of this sentence, in terms of the logistics of what's going on, does anyone think that if we were invading Puerto Rico militarily, we wouldn't have all the electricity that we needed turned back on and supplies flowing by now? But somehow we seem unable to actually provide the help that we need.